The rain fell like silver needles on the cracked neon sign of Maggie's diner, flickering in the lonely night. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of coffee, grease, and something far heavier, tension. Emily wiped the counter with trembling hands, her smile soft but forced. It was almost midnight, and the usual crowd of late-night travelers had thinned out, leaving only the hum of the jukebox and the buzz of the fluorescent lights to keep her company. But that peace shattered the moment the door creaked open. 3 men stumbled in, loud, drunk, and carrying the kind of arrogance that feeds off fear. Their laughter echoed across the diner as they slumped into a booth near the counter. Emily's stomach sank. She had seen their type before, men who thought kindness was an invitation. Before we dive deeper into this real-life, inspired moment of courage and humanity, make sure to hit like, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel, Everyday Heroes, where ordinary people prove that courage still exists. One of the men, a tall brute with tattoos crawling up his neck, smirked as Emily approached. "Hey, sweetheart," he slurred, eyes gleaming with mischief. "Why don't you sit with us for a while? You look lonely." Emily forced a polite smile. "Sorry, sir. I've got work to do. What can I get you tonight?" His hand shot out, catching her wrist. I said, "Sit down." Her tray clattered to the floor. The sound of shattering glass pierced the silence. The other 2 men burst out laughing. One of them whistled, mockingly. "Ah, come on, Rick, don't scare the poor girl. She's just playing hard to get." Emily tried to pull her hand back, but his grip only tightened. "Let go," she whispered, her voice shaking. Outside, thunder rumbled across the dark sky. Inside, the jukebox hummed a slow country tune, a cruel contrast to the cruelty unfolding. "Come on, sweetheart. Smile for me," Rick said, tugging her closer. The smell of alcohol burned her nose. Fear clawed at her chest. There was no one else in the diner, just her, the thugs, and the storm. And then the door opened. The bell above it jingled softly. 4 silhouettes stepped inside, dripping rain onto the floor. Their leather jackets gleamed under the dull lights, and the emblem stitched across their backs read, "Iron Vows MC." Every head turned. Even the jukebox seemed to quiet down. The lead biker, tall, broad, with a scar slicing through one eyebrow, took one look at the scene. Emily's wrist caught in the thug's hand, her terrified eyes. The overturned tray, his jaw tightened. "Let her go," he said, voice low but dangerous. Rick laughed, leaning back. "Who the hell are you supposed to be? Some kind of hero?" The biker took a step forward. His boots echoed against the tiled floor. "No," he said. "But I don't let cowards touch women who can't fight back." The tension in the air turned electric. The 3 thugs stood up, chairs scraping harshly against the floor. One of them reached into his jacket, but before his hand even moved further, the other bikers spread out, surrounding them like a wall of muscle and purpose. "Think real hard before you do something stupid," said another biker, a woman with a fierce stare and a bandana tied around her head. Her hand rested casually on her belt, not threatening, but certain. Rick hesitated, looking between the 4 bikers and Emily, who had backed away, clutching her wrist. "Let her go." Rick released her, grinning nervously. "We were just having fun. No harm done, right?" The lead biker's eyes were ice cold. Fun is supposed to make people smile. He leaned closer until their faces were inches apart. "You made her afraid." The next few seconds felt like they lasted forever. Then, with a low growl, the thugs pushed past and stormed out into the rain, muttering curses under their breath. Silence fell again. Emily stood frozen, her heart pounding. "You okay?" the biker asked gently, his voice now softer. She nodded weakly, tears brimming in her eyes. "Thank you. I didn't know what to do." He gave a faint smile. "You did fine. You just needed someone to remind them what respect looks like." The woman biker came around the counter, picking up the broken glass. "You don't owe us anything, sweetheart. We've all been there, moments where no one stood up. It's why we do what we do now." Emily blinked, confused. "You protect people?" "Sometimes," the woman said, chuckling softly. "Sometimes we just make sure the world remembers there's still decency out there." The bikers sat down, ordered coffee, and talked like old friends. But behind every smile, Emily could sense stories, scars, lost pain. The kind of people who had seen darkness and decided to fight against it, even in small ways. Hours passed. The rain softened. Emily brewed one last pot of coffee, feeling a quiet strength growing inside her. She looked at the bikers, these strangers who had walked in when she needed help most. and something inside her shifted. She realized courage doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it walks in wearing a leather jacket. If this story moved you, even just a little, please take a second to like this video, comment your thoughts about what courage means to you, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Your support helps us share more real stories that remind the world what kindness and bravery look like. When dawn finally broke, the bikers stood to leave. Emily poured them one last cup on the house. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling but strong, "for showing up." The leader smiled, adjusting his jacket. "That's what we do. When someone's in trouble, we ride." As they walked out into the pale morning light, their engines rumbled like distant thunder. Not a sound of fear, but of promise. A promise that somewhere out there, goodness still rides the open road. Emily watched them disappear down the highway, the neon sign of Maggie's diner flickering behind her. For the first time in a long time, she smiled, a real smile. Because that night, in a world that often forgets how to be kind, she had witnessed something extraordinary. Ordinary people doing something heroic. And that, she realized, is what keeps the world turning.